And we are live once again in the Music Connection. Welcome back, friends.
Hi, everybody.
Um, uh,
How was your day? Well, you
my
been out in
day,
the real world,
my
not been
day
on
was
camera all day.
my day was very productive and very long, and I'm very happy to be here to share with everyone at home another of our very talented friends who it's going to join us from not too far and bringing us into a different world of the bass. Here's John Dahlman, everyone. Welcome, John.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Good to see you guys. It's been far too long.
It has been too long, and I just wanted to let people know how you and I met. Our our buddy Orlando Cato was I'd asked him to help out with our show, Balance the Musical Journey, and I said, I wonder if you could find a couple of musicians for us for the group, and along came this amazing bass player along with Orlando and Salem Camalou on the piano, and we just really hit it off right from day one, and I've just been so happy to know this guy. He's interesting. This man has played clubs all over the United States. He's had quite a stint in the Caribbean, I believe, and along with in between small clubs, he's done big places like Wolf Trap and a couple of other big places.
A couple of nice little places, Avery Fisher Hall and
That dump.
It's kind of a pit. Yeah.
And I know you played music for musicals and in theaters. You've played all different styles of music.
Yeah, I do. I love playing musicals. So when Orlando called me and said, "Hey, there's this new musical coming out. Would you be willing to do it?" I went, "Yeah, of course." Yeah, it's musicals are so much fun to do.
And how come? Why are they so much fun?
Well, there's two parts. First, I love being in a theater with other performers. Not being in a band. Okay, that's great. That's a lot of fun. It's very self-gratifying. But to support singers and dancers and all of that it's such a joy, because this is the second part, there is precision to it. That's the gratifying part, is to find that spot where that this dancer has to be left foot here, and this line has to come here, and this has to happen, and these lights are going to happen. And if you miss, especially bass players and drummers, if you miss, it's going to be a car crash on stage.
And that never happens, right?
No. And I mean, there are times where I have thought about making it happen. We'll leave that alone. But they always say theater people are great. Well, they are great. They're fun. There's the shared experience of the cast, I think, is even greater than the audience. Mm-hmm. To stand on a stage and look out into the dark and know that there's 20 people, 2,000 people, they're there to share this with you. It's just the greatest feeling in the world.
It is, and of all of our performer friends, of course, the time we're living through, these tender times, tough times, it's really rough on all of you performers.
I have friends that I'm really worried about. I'm considering just calling the white wagon and having them picked up. They're starting to lose their minds.
Or you can invite them to be on our show.
Well, we could do that too. I know a couple of people that would be very good for this.
There you go.
Wonderful.
Well, so before we get going into a little more about your specific journey, I have to ask you about this little riddle. I thought it was very clever in saying that we were moving from chords, vocal chords, to chords in the guitar. Mm-hmm. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what if bass players don't actually play chords? What do we do? So do you play chords?
I do play chords. Let me drop this microphone down here and I will show you.
Okay, now I don't feel bad. I'm glad that I didn't mess that up.
Hey, John, before we let you sort of turn it over to you, what you tell us a little bit how you came to be a bass player?
Well, the story is that when I was 4 years old, I heard the Ray Brown Quintet on vinyl at my parents' house. And like I say, the story is I walked up to the speaker and said, "What's that? I want to do that." And I kept pestering and pestering and pestering. And my dad, who was actually a very good musician, gave in. And the fool made me a deal, said, "If you keep practicing and studying and all, I will keep paying for lessons." Little did he know, it cost him a small fortune. But it was a sound that, I mean, I just always remember it. This is, some of my earliest memories are music and hearing the bass. And it's just something, it's like guitar players or drummers or anything else. There is that sound that for some reason connects to you. And I just love it. And now, I learned to play upright. I learned to play cello. I'm a terrible cellist. And playing bass guitar, and now these extended range instruments with, 6 or 8 strings. All of a sudden has really opened things up between that and the technology that's available. Like that wild sound that you heard, I'm running through my iPad.
Oh, wow.
And that's doing all my processing.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty neat. So I can all of a sudden, I have the greatest, imagine the best outfitted recording studio in the world. I can drop it in my backpack.
Wow.
That's astounding.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And so your dad dropped a small fortune on you. Do you drop a small fortune on your son?
Well, I didn't have to because I already had all the stuff.
So he was homeschooled.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, he grew up in a house where, I had all my instruments. We had a Hammond organ, had an electric piano, had tenor ukuleles. There's just instruments all through the house when he was growing up. And I never encouraged him, but I never discouraged him. I was like, here it is. Make noise. Have fun. And
did he?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. He's a tremendous double bass player.
Man.
And it turns out, well, in the middle of all this, he had taught himself guitar and ukulele and keyboards and all this. And he went to the magnet school here in Baltimore County for music. And, made honors orchestra. Actually made principal bass honors orchestra.
Wow.
Yeah. So I figured my job was to give him a good push, make sure he had a good teacher, not me, and get out of the way.
Yeah.
And
well, you didn't raise any slacker.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And have the two of you collaborated on projects?
Kind of. The last thing we actually did, I used to have a church gig in Northwest DC, and it was big on music at this congregation. And so every once in a while we would do a thing where I would play electric and he would play upright, and we would pick an Ellington tune or something like that and play that during the service. But that's been a while. So he and his girlfriend are working on a new album.
Wow.
And they've asked me to do a couple of tracks on that. So that's
next.
You
posted on that project.
I will. The stuff they've sent so far has been, I'm so proud of him. I really am.
So
I am astonished. It is just gorgeous.
What does the girlfriend play?
Well, I know she's actually a cellist. And that's how the two of them met, was honors orchestra at middle school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so she's a great cellist, but she's a tremendous singer. And then she's taught herself guitar, and he's taught her bass, and she plays some keyboards. And, it's just an excess of talent down there.
That's fantastic.
It's kind of disgusting, really. Yeah.
Well, we want to come into your studio right now and hear you. Can we do that?
Absolutely. Let me, because I I'll tell you right now, I've spent the last couple of days thinking, what am I going to play? What am I going to play? What am I going to play? And then I went, oh, to hell with that. We'll just see what comes out.
Let
I
it
love
all
it.
just come out. We love it. Well, this screen is all yours.
All
John
right.
Dahlman.
That was
Oh man,
very cool.
that just kind of rumbles through your chest when you hear that sound. It's really wonderful. You know, John, I was remembering that when we were in some of the rehearsals, I would be maybe with some of the cast, and all of a sudden I'd hear a trumpet, or I'd hear a clarinet, or I'd hear, and I thought I was losing my mind, but I was hearing all these different sounds and realizing that they were actually coming from your bass. Can you educate us a little bit about that? Those of us who know nothing about this kind of thing.
Well, sure. This is, and it's kind of hard to see here. This is a really special instrument. It's made by Francois Leduc in northeast France, and he builds just a few a year to order, and he's still got a 3-year wait.
Wow.
Yeah, it's I always say it's a 3-year wait and a couple of body parts. And I had played one of these instruments, boy, in the mid 80s, and fell in love. And then I heard the price and I fell right back out of love very fast. And then years later, about 20 years ago, I guess, 19 years now, my one of my aunts died, and she never had children, so she sent each of her nieces and nephews a rather nice check that said, "This is to buy what you would never buy yourself."
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
And knowing her, if we didn't, she'd come back and haunt us. So I figured, okay. And I happened to go on a website that I hadn't been on in a while that just sold bass equipment, and this instrument was the first one on the list. The guy had just listed it, so I sent him a message and I said, "Right, how do you want your money?" And so he called me and we talked, and he's telling me all this stuff. I was like, "No, you don't understand. You're just in New York. I'll drive up and give you cash right now."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was astonishing. And this particular instrument, you can see the two-tone wood.
Mhm.
It's hollow, and this lighter top actually floats. It only touches in a couple of spots,
Mhm.
and so that gives it this really amazing sound. And it's extremely responsive, which also means that if you're not paying attention, you sound awful. Uh, it can be brutal that way, but yeah,
It's, I have a question. I noticed I don't see the things that you use to tune a string instrument. Where are they?
right. Well, where you normally have them on the head, that's the
Yeah.
headstock. They're gone, so they're down at the bottom,
Oh,
Yeah.
so much more elegant.
isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's there's actually a bit of an argument going between the guy who made this and Ned Steinberger, who's one of the great instrument designers of all times. They both came out with this like within a month of each other.
Oh, wow.
So there's an argument as to who should actually have the patent. Uh,
There's a story there.
Well, whoever filed it first.
well, Christoph filed in France, and Ned filed here. So it gets a little iffy. But I think they've kind of just said, "Oh, all right, we'll just let it go." But yeah, it's just, to me, this design. I've told people it's. I tend to see music as much as I hear music, but this instrument reminds me of a Giacometti sculpture,
Mm.
where Giacometti took the human form and kept peeling it back till it was as little as you could have and still understand it.
Mhm.
And that's the way I view this instrument. It's as little as you can have and still be, a functioning musical instrument.
Well, it's so magnificent that we like to hear some more. Can you play a little bit more?
Sure. Let me see what else I can come. Maybe I'll play something a little happier. I don't know. All right, here we go. What can we do? I think maybe that. All right, playing with different noises I can get here. So,
All right. I was hearing a few moments there. I heard a little sitar in there. It's like Ravi Shankar.
Yeah, I studied Indian music myself. Sort of in high school, I discovered Ravi Shankar and all this stuff, and I was like, "That's just such a cool sound."
Yeah.
So again, this instrument lets me, and it's really where I put my finger in my left hand.
Wow.
If I use the thick part, it's a rounder tone, but I can roll up on the edge of the finger, and it sort of forces it to do that sort of growly thing.
Well, I'm thinking for all of you music teachers that are out there listening to this, John's lecture right here would be perfect for your students. You have a great broadcast voice, my man.
Oh, thanks. It's I've done a few voiceovers and I really enjoy it. So yeah, anybody needs voiceover work, I'm set up. I'm ready to go.
All right, good.
I'll remember that.
We'll put that
do a little bit of video.
And send us any clips or things that you'd like us to post with this. We'd love to put those up for you.
Absolutely. There are, if you search my name on YouTube, I'm usually the first 15 or 20 things that come up.
Whoa.
All these different bands that I've done.
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby.
Not bad. I get around.
and we're really honored to know you, John. And
it is my
thanks for spending a little time with us.
Really was wonderful, and stay well. Thank you so much for sharing.
And give our best to Sue and to your talented kid.
And we're looking forward to the launch party of the new recording.
Well, that I have a lot of people yelling at me about that, so I'll let you know.
Yeah. That's great. Well, hang on for a second while we say goodbye. Okay. And everyone at home, thank you so much for joining us. This was another lovely edition, and we can't wait to see you next time. Take care. Stay well.